little quick synopsis. I mean, you guys have all written your stuff already, and about the last game. I think again it goes back to in this league, this late in the year, anytime, but particularly late in the year. The first component is you want to come out with victory, but it goes way beyond that with us, and that we want to improve every week, and we want to make sure that anything that we had to get corrected gets corrected, because that list will always be there. It never disappears. You get something marked off, checked off, something else is on there simply because the other team game plans too. And I think probably the biggest thing was that there were a lot of good things that took place, and that we had a lot of moving parts out there that were not on the scouting report in terms of on video of what they had done in the past. They'd had an open week, and there were a lot of new things, totally different for what they had done. And we were a little bit, and it's not an excuse, but we were a little concerned going in, and then got more concerned after a play that, we have a quarterback too. And that quarterback is at the linebacker position. And when the top two quarterbacks out of the game, everybody's having a stroke. But nobody ever thinks that, oh, two linebackers out, that might be an issue. And it's not that they can't do it, because the guys are fully capable and did a nice job of doing it. But their training, their reps is not as much as 57 and 30s were. Obviously, we only have so many reps. So we had to get them settled down, and they did a good job of that. I thought we tackled well for the most part in the game, and affected the run in a good way. And then in the passing game, they tried to approach it a little bit like Mississippi, in that it was get the ball out quick, don't hold the ball. I think they had called 30. I know they called 39 passes and was 5.6 yards per attempt. So that's really pretty good. It still goes back to the fact that the longest pass in the game was 29 yards, and that occurred in 2 minutes on fourth down, and what should have been an interception, or at worst a batted down ball. So I think the next longest pass was 21 yards, and so we're doing a good job of keeping the top on the coverage. We've got to start denying the ball a little bit better in the intermediate to low range. We're working hard on that. We've been good at it at times, and we'll get that corrected. And then at the end of the day, we won 2 minutes. They stayed calm. They didn't panic, which we work on that very hard. 2 minute situation of taking the philosophy, we win 2 minutes, and they stayed calm and executed well.
How much does it affect you as well, the intermediate routes and the short routes, when you don't have Trey or Deshaun out there?
Well, it can, depending on where they're trying to attack it. If it's out on the edge, then not so much so. But internally, yeah, it can. And some of those routes were internally, and it's not so much that the guys that are in there can't do it, because they can. They're capable. It's just a matter of getting the repetition in practice, particularly in now their one tight end, one back passing game they kept it the same. All the two tight end stuff and the two tight end, two back, two tight end, one back, and the 21 two back, one tight end was really a lot different than what they've been doing. But that stuff, a little bit of that in terms of the internal crossing routes and the check downs and that kind of stuff.
So just Darrell Williams, what do you say out of him? Obviously, he's been improving throughout the year. What did you see out of him yesterday?
Well, I saw his plate full, because he played Sam backer, he played money backer, he played Mike backer, and dime. So if we were in regular, he was a Sam backer. If we were in nickel, he was the money backer. If we were in dime, he was the Mac backer. That's a full plate. And, that's the first time that's happened to him. And he grew up. He grew up. For a sophomore, this is his basically, ninth game playing. He did some good things.
When they're looking to take advantage over the middle in particular, Kevin, again, understandably tactically when the linebackers are pushed to that point, without giving away too much, just how do you try to combat that going forward? Is it dropping guys off the line? Is it playing different
No, we just got to play better technique on some of those routes, and two in particular, a third down, well, two third down routes. You know, a third and 9, a third and 10. It was just, you know, we got to execute better. We got to execute better. We got to coach them better to execute better.
Not going to try to get in trouble if you agree or disagree on the targeting call, but what I always ask Steve Shaw about in that situation, Kevin, is when it's a one-step situation where he's already kind of committed to making the hit from a technique approach standpoint, what is Deshaun supposed to do to avoid that?
Well, first you got to keep your eyes up, and second you got to know how they call it, and you got to avoid how they call it. You just got to avoid it. Uh, you know, beyond that, I'm not going to say anything that's above my pay grade. Uh, so I'll let somebody who's got a higher pay grade and pay a higher fine than I would.
Kevin, since that rule was instituted, have you had to change anything about how you coach tackling technique or anything?
Yeah, yeah, it's changed, but you got to realize in 1980 we just tackled. Now, I mean, you got to spend time on it, and rightfully so, for the safety of the game. You know, I totally I get that. You know, you've got to spend the thing that is very concerning is the head-to-head contact. That's the primary. Keep your eyes up and no head-to-head contact. Now, there's other things we teach, but that's critical because it's a huge safety issue.
How do you feel TJ played also probably the most reps he's seen in the games out?
He did good. You know, he got out there and he's kind of progressed to that. He understands what we're doing. He understands the concepts of what we're doing. He got guys lined up. He played. He did a good job. He was active.
Third down conversions the last 2 weeks. You guys did a better job in the second half, just like you did at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
What's contributing to that? Just what are your thoughts?
Well, we got to do a better job of doing it early. I mean, and it's not if it was one coverage, you'd say okay, we might need to stop calling that third down. If it was, but you know the three critical ones the other day that happened that we just got to coach better and play better technique on it because it was actually three different concepts, three different coverages, and the ball placement too. I mean, where they went with the ball was three different things. One of them was a pressure, man to man. One of them was man coverage with a low hole player and a free safety, and then one of them was just our traditional split safety look. So, you know, we've got to coach it better and tighten up our coverage. So, tighten up our coverage. We've been really good at it, but there's been probably 5 to 6 plays in the last 2 games on third down that we should have been off the field. So we're going to have to coach that better.
Kevin, you obviously have a long relationship with Kirby.
Mm-hmm.
Just talk about him and what he kind of brings.
Well, you know, I guess I don't know if this fits in this category. I guess I could violate it. You know, I've always had a standard thing is never evaluate up. He's a head coach now, so I probably don't need to be evaluating him. But no, Kirby was a graduate assistant for us at Florida State when I was there, and then we worked together at Alabama twice. He's very, very, very intelligent. Very intelligent. He understands football at a high level. He's a good teacher, good recruiter. He just, you know, he's the whole package. He really is.
Kevin, Jerry Brown moved a little around yesterday, some at the end. Just talk about what you've seen out of him and him kind of playing into that role some yesterday.
Yeah, well, he's big, he's strong, he's fast. And we had really done that because, you know, Marlon was limited in his reps, although he did practice last week, but very limited in his reps. And so we were a little bit concerned with the depth at that position because they had been too tight end, run the power, block the tight end on the 6 technique. Well, that's a spoonful. Now they didn't try to do that, and he was out there, but that's a mouthful. That's a lot to chew on. If Derek Brown's lined up in front of you as a 6 technique, you got to block him with a tight end.
I don't know how much you've watched of Georgia so far, but they've got some momentum going on the road, winning the way they did at Kentucky. Seem to be getting the rushing attack back. What makes them real dangerous, especially at home?
Well, you know, first thing is it's the SEC, and they're a very, very good, talented football team. They have a quarterback that can throw it from here to LaGrange and throw it accurately. He's young, but he's very talented. And then they have two running backs that are, you know, they're they'll they're very very good at what they do, and they kind of, I guess they call them. I think I've heard the term thunder and lightning. They're both thunder and they're both lightning to me when I watch them. I mean, they're pretty good football players. They spread the ball around a lot to the receivers. You know, they got a diversity in their receiving core, and they spread it around a lot.
That tight end they got, who you thinking?
The young one,
Yeah.
he is a very very good route runner, good hands. You know, positions himself for a freshman very good for the ball. Um, and I think there's some connection there, not just roommate connection because they are roommates with the quarterback. You know, I think he feels very comfortable because of late. I noticed in 2 minute last night watching the game. You know, I was sitting there. I mean, they went to him.
Yeah, we asked you about Josh last week coming up with a big play, and he comes up with a huge one again. Where is he starting to rank for you of the defensive backs he's coached? Because nationally speaking, he's starting to rank very high in passes defended on a national perspective. I know it's not a great way to evaluate a corner.
It's a pretty good way. It's a pretty good way. You know,
But
if my wife's having a lot of wrecks, I'd say she's a pretty bad driver. If you're breaking up a lot of passes, I'd say you're a pretty good pass defender.
so where does he start to rank for you, just compared to? I mean, you've coached a lot of great ones, obviously, Davies even a year ago.
Yeah, well, he's just a football player, and I know y'all hear that and say, "What does that mean?" As that's not coach speak. There never was coach speak. You know, he's a football player. Well, they all are football players. What we mean by that is usually when you get to that level is that you understand the game like a coach. He sees the game like a coach. He knows by splits. He knows by alignments. He knows by sets. Okay, this is the combinations we get. And so as soon as number two does something, he knows what number one's doing or within close proximity. So he gets a jump on things, and that allows him to and I hesitate in saying this exact word. It makes him a smart cheater in that he can cover his guy and cheat to something else. And that's how he got that last night, you know, or yesterday. We play at night so much I forgot what a day game was, but you know, he stacked his coverage, kept his eyes back inside, knew what the route was back inside, and really fell at the right angle. Now Marlon and one, Montravis had a big effect on that because they affected the trajectory of which it came out. But it's still good play. And I saw everything, but I did not see number 6 fall down yesterday. I don't know if y'all saw that on that play or not, but he was in coverage, good position, was breaking to the ball, and as he was breaking back to it in good position, good technique, he fell down. So I was glad Josh kind of fell in there because if he'd have caught it, we'd have probably been lining up for go for 2 or at least been in overtime.
Kevin, we've asked you about this a couple times this year, and that you've already faced a couple of your former employers, but this will be the first time that Trey's got to play against Georgia since he left there, because he got hurt. I mean, he was hurt last year in this game. How much do you think
It's good reading during the week. It's probably fun to talk about with your family, but after the first play, it has no effect on anything. It really doesn't. You know, it's kind of like a pregame talk in the locker room. It's real good. Gets everybody fired up, everybody jumping around, juiced up, and you know, after you get hit in the mouth first play, you forget what the coach said. You know, it's just so I don't really think it has a lot of effect on the game, other than it makes for good reading.
so that's not something you're going to talk to him about? Say, well, hey, I've already done it twice, and I'll do it again when we face him.
No, don't feel any need to. He's so mature, you know.
Kevin, Rudy Ford's in the top of the team in tackles again. How well has he been playing this season?
Who's that?
Rudy Ford.
Yeah, Rudy is a fast guy that can close on you in a hurry. He's a good tackler, and you know, he's got a lot of pressure. That star position is a hard position to play. You know, he does a good job at it.
Mari's had another pass breakup in the line. He's getting a little bit more the last couple of weeks. What have you seen out of him?
Well, more importantly, what have I heard about him? Because he's told me he had to pass break up at the line of scrimmage too, about 8 times today. So you know, he's pretty excited about that. You know, those guys up front, they're all, you know, it's kind of a fraternity they've got. you know, they compete in themselves, and I think that's what makes them who they are. And it is so competitive in that room to try to get snaps, and then when you do get snaps, to try to be factors in the game. And you know, Swaney is you know, he's one of those guys. He loves to compete. He loves to compete with his teammates as much as he does with the guys he's playing against. And I think that, you know, that makes you a better player.
Kevin, unrelated to this game, but I think you're just extremely complimentary of Jack Kelly last week. And I don't know if you saw the news, but he's out for the year with a torn ACL and torn meniscus. Just can you speak to just how tough a competitor this he just to play this season, what he meant to the
Yeah.
team, not just in that game?
Well, you know, I think I did not know that. I didn't even know he was hurt. I didn't know. Um, but you know, number one, and I know him personally. Um, he is the perfect competitor. You know, very rarely, and I shouldn't say this, you do internally sometimes have quarterbacks that are that competitive internally. But when you've got one that has a disposition that's kind of like a linebacker, then he affects everybody on the team, not just the offense, not just throwing the ball and catching it. He affects the whole disposition of the team. And that's kind of what I saw in him. I mean, he affected that whole football team with his mental toughness, his tenacity, how competitive he was. I mean, you know, when you watch all games last year of him, which I've done, and then all games leading up, the only game I haven't watched on video is the one he just played this past week. And that guy affected every single game with his competitiveness, but also his ability. I mean, he is as accurate a quarterback and can throw as many different versions of balls as I've seen in a while. And you know, he's a very, very talented young man that you can see he loves to play football. So anytime that, you know, somebody's season ends, it's hard, but I know it'll be hard on him. But he's tough enough; he'll bounce back, and he's got enough talent, you know, that I don't think that'll be his last football game.
Kevin, you guys have already faced some really good running backs this year, including last week. What is it about Chubb and George that makes them so good?
Same thing. It makes all of them real good. You know, those great ones. That is that, you know, he's got the ability to make any kind of run. He can make an inside run behind his pads. He can make, you know, and run through you. He can run through tackles. You're not going to arm tackle him. He can make you miss. He can bounce and hit the edge and go the distance. Uh, you know, he's the complete package.
Anything else? All right, Coach, thank you.
Thank you, guys.